When introverted thinking, or TI, seeks to define a thing or a concept, it does not just seek a direct definition. A plain direct definition is never enough. Words are too vague, ideas are too general. For a definition to be acceptable, it must allow me to not only identify instances that match the definition, but also identify instances that do not match the definition. If you define some concept A, and then some other concept B, I will not be satisfied unless I can tell apart when something fits A or B. If the definitions are so vague, then I'm not satisfied. If I later find out that you gave me an example of A that does not match the stated definition at all, and then you give me an example of B that seems, on the surface at least, to match the definition of A more than B, then not only will I be very confused, I will be irritated and probably I will get angry. This is why TI can seem like it's very picky to the point of being pedantic. The pedantry just comes out naturally because we are always naturally splitting hairs about how this means X but not Y. This is how we make sense of things. So when you give me a definition, I'm not going to just take it at face value. I will think about the implications. And so what can happen often is, you tell me A is so-and-so and B is so-and-so, and then maybe you are satisfied with the definition. But in my head, I will be thinking about the consequences. I will trace what this means and what that means. And within a few seconds, I will bring up a potential example of something that can fit both A and B. And I will ask you, so in this case, is it A or B, and why? Now, it might come across like we are just being picky or splitting hairs for no reason, but to us, understanding something means that we must be able to tell where the boundaries are. Of course, sometimes there are no clear boundaries, and the concept is a bit fuzzy around the edges. But that's fine. You just have to include this fuzziness in the definition. You have to state it. And it needs to be clarified in a way that does not make the definition meaningless. Because if the concept is just too fuzzy, then it becomes meaningless. Anything can be this or that depending on your mood. That is not a definition.